So I want to talk to you guys about a phenomenon known as a cargo cult. Cargo cults were discovered by militaries around the world after World War II and during World War II, when various militaries went to Polynesian islands and arrived with a lot of supplies. And when those supplies ran out, they just radioed for more, and the planes came and parachuted in these crates of supplies. So the locals got to seeing that if you went through certain rituals, like having a runway and building a tower, that you could summon goods from the sky. So actually it went on for several years after the troops had left the islands. The locals actually had mimicked the strategies of the troops when they were on the islands, and built mock airports and planes and vehicles. It's very easy to draw comparisons between that cargo culture and the way many of us consume our news. We get up in the morning and we go downstairs, which is the equivalent of going to the mock-up airport, the runway or the beach in these Polynesian islands, and we open the cargo, we open our phones, we unlock our phones, and the treasure that we find, we look for the white knights, we look for the hero that's going to come, the piece of information that's going to make everybody wake up. And we worship, this cargo that comes through the air. It gets delivered to us, and it gives us a feeling of understanding, and it gives us a feeling of place in the world. But actually, it's a cult of moving information around, where the discoverer of the new information receives likes and shares and a dopamine feedback loop, and it can give you a feeling of success when you create new understanding. But really, it doesn't translate into actions in the world, and it's not. You're not actualizing yourself in the world. You're actualizing yourself in a medium that is actually a very narrow tunnel, and it's one way of seeing the world. And I'm not saying that there isn't a spectrum of views within that one way. There is, of course, but it is still a narrow channel where people speak to each other in the universal language of social media, where certain phraseology is used so as to not expose one's flank or weak points to criticism or in fact openness. You can't be open on Facebook or the social media. You have to be constantly defensive and minding all your flanks, and this kind of whole strategizing, which is actually done in a very small sphere of people. So to me, it's a cargo culture. So I'd encourage you to look up the cargo cults. It's a phenomenon that's been around for many, many years, and it was discovered by the militaries. So I can actually see how that strategy, when these militaries discovered that they could do, that such things existed, they said, well, wonderful, isn't that a wonderful method of control? We will just parachute in reward for a particular narrative. What the narrative might be, it could be a spectrum of narratives. It could be creating the dichotomy that advances all of their narratives. So, like when I look at the morality on the extreme interpretation of communism that we see with trends, the blank slate stuff where we're all equal, this can be looked at as a cargo cult as well. But the one I'm concerned about today is the one that many of us are tied up in, and that is the cargo cult of information. Okay, guys.